Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Top of the List. I'm Dom. This is my good friend RB.
Hey, guys.
And we're going to be discussing Loki season 1, specifically the finale, and just our thoughts on the whole season.
Yeah, absolutely. Loki. It was the third of this initial wave of three Disney Plus Marvel Cinematic Universe series that Disney decided to go in this direction. I'm personally, and I've been outspoken about this through all three series, not a huge fan of the, what can you call them, mini series, or are they full series? Mini series?
Yeah, probably limited series.
Yeah, limited series.
Like
I'm not a huge fan of it. I'm a huge fan of going to the theaters, going to check out these big, iconic MCU films on the big screen. Thankfully, some of them are coming back. But we're still, it looks like sticking with this format of some movies, some limited series. So I guess I'm going to have to get used to it. And I think, at least of the three series we've seen so far, this was the best.
Yeah, I think this was the best one. And so I think overall, if we're going to just talk overall about the MCU shows, I think 2 out of 3 they got right. And then the one that we both didn't like was Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was because it was something that we had seen before. I think there's a fine line of, yes, the MCU wants to stay to their, their bread and butter and superheroes, but on the other side, we can't see the same thing over and over again. Right. That's the beauty of what the MCU has been so far, whether it's been, Iron Man to Ant-Man, yes, they're both superheroes. Yes, they both kick butt, but completely different characters.
How about following up Avengers 2 or the first Avengers with Guardians of the Galaxy?
Exactly.
Like completely
different things. And yet they're still, the main point, sort of a superhero, finding himself to become a great Avenger, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
I think that's what we saw with both Loki and WandaVision, which we were both fans of.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go ahead and talk Loki. Let's give our scores, and then we'll go into spoilers.
I want you to go first for your score.
I have my score for the finale and the show.
Oh, for the finale and the show. Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay,
good.
So I guess start with the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the finale, episode 6, For All Time Always. There was a couple of the episodes in this season that, were a little bit slower. This one got right to the point, definitely gave us a lot of answers that, we've been looking for. And I really enjoyed this episode. Now, is it a perfect episode of TV? No way. I think there's a lot of exposition, but that's kind of what we wanted, and that's what I wanted. And I'm totally good with that. They gave me some of the comic book nods I was looking for. Some really great performances in this one. And it left us on a big cliffhanger for season 2. So right on, I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10 for the finale. People on the YouTube are going to be wondering why Ryan's rolling his eyes and shaking his head so much.
Yeah. So, and then what's your score for the overall series?
Oh, for the overall series? Yeah. Probably give it an 8.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I think I also gave WandaVision an 8.5. So about the same as WandaVision.
Gotcha. Yeah. 7 out of 10 for the finale for me.
Okay.
Very disappointed. Didn't know they were going to season 2. Really was hoping they just, cut out this stupid limited series BS, for lack of a better term, and, give us a lead into wherever we're going. Are we going, is this leading into Multiverse of Madness, or is this leading into Thor, Love and Thunder,
Yeah.
But they didn't, they
set
it up on a cliffhanger for season 2, which I'm not, I'm like I said, I've been over this limited series thing since the first one came out, but wasn't crazy about the episode. I don't think it gave all the answers that I wanted. So I'm going to give it probably a 7 out of 10, the finale. And it really hurts me because leading up to this finale, I loved this show. I was ready to give this a 9 or a 9.5 out of 10. This finale knocked it way down for me because it's going into a second season. So overall, I'm going to give the show still a pretty high score. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
For sure. Still a great show for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Just wish, okay, we got 6 episodes. Let's wrap it up. Let's tie it up into a nice bow and go back to our cinematic. It's, our films in the cinema.
People need to know. People listening need to know. Ryan, this goes against everything you say all the time about shows. Ryan's usually the guy that says, no, shows should go on forever.
Yes.
But in this case, you're saying this one should end.
And my problem with it is the Marvel Cinematic Universe does not need to be for consumption at home. To me, it was something special. that we got 2 or 3 films a year that were released on the big screen that were something special. And this, it's taken away this whole start to, what is this, phase 4, correct?
Yeah, phase 4.
It's just lost the magic for me because I'm sitting at home watching it on my couch and not in the theater. I'm waiting a week to see each episode rather than waiting 4 months to see each film.
See, for those reasons, I like watching these TV series. I think they've done a pretty good job.
All right.
And I enjoy it.
And agree to disagree here, but you have a right to your opinion for sure.
Yeah, we could definitely agree to disagree, but I just want to say, I think maybe the reason why we're differing a little bit here is because, Marvel has always been something that I've consumed at home.
Right.
Seeing it on the big screen was a big change for me.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when I grew up, I watched everything Marvel, Saturday morning cartoons. I know we've talked about it before.
Right, yeah. And I was never a big Marvel guy when it came to the cartoons. I always loved the Justice League and the Teen Titans, anything DC. Yeah. Marvel, that's why I was so shocked that Marvel beat DC to the punch on the screen because I didn't know who Iron Man and Captain America were. I know who Batman and Superman are.
Yeah. See, I was one of those guys that would watch like the Avengers, straight to DVD movies.
Okay.
Before the Avengers live action, I would watch, Spider-Man, the animated series. I talked about how much I love that show.
Right.
All kinds of stuff like that. So I think that's maybe why I'm a little into this. And that's another reason why I liked Loki so much, to get back on the topic of Loki. Yeah. This felt more like, we're getting like a live action cartoon. It felt very Rick and Morty,
Yeah, very much so.
Points.
Yeah, I agree. And that's what I did like about Loki a lot was the original concept is something we haven't seen at all in the MCU. The idea of this TVA and, we're not really on an alien planet. It's not really magic. It's not, these are sort of the big things we did. It's not scientifically generated.
Right.
This is something that's completely new, something that's completely, off timeline and pulled back from time itself. And that was what was so amazing and how well they executed it. Like I said, yes, I'm going to watch season 2. I'm going to continue through the MCU, but I just wish we almost got, like I said, more answers. We got, okay, this is leading up, we're going to pick up right here with the TVA for Multiverse of Madness, or we're going to pick up right here for Thor Love and Thunder that, Loki's going to be involved in, which I don't think he will be, but I'm just, posing another example of what I wanted to see versus, okay, we'll pick up right here for season 2.
Got it. Okay. Well, let's talk about the answers we did get. Yeah. So let's go ahead and give the spoiler warning.
Yep.
All right. So the big reveal, who is at the end of time, Ryan? And as he's known in the show, he is the
Conqueror, correct?
Yeah. He calls himself a conqueror, but he is he who remains.
Oh,
right.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, and that's kind of what in the credits. That's what they call him.
Okay.
He who remains.
Yes.
But for those of you that don't know the comics, those of you that are not familiar with the Marvel Universe, we meet Kang the Conqueror at the end here. This was one of my predictions that we've been talking about over the course of the season, and we don't get just Kang the Conqueror. We get the kind of the end version of Kang the Conqueror here.
Yeah, and here is sort of my big flaw with this.
Okay.
If you and I didn't film the show and I didn't have someone who was a Marvel expert like yourself, I wouldn't know who the heck that was. I mean, he never says I'm King the Conqueror, just says I'm just a man, a scientist from the year 3.
31st century.
31st century. That's what it was. And I am a
conqueror. That's what these shows are for. For the shows specifically, and more so even now, the movies have been getting more in depth. They're not for people that don't know anything about superheroes. You have to be one of those people that, goes online and reads about it. Yeah. They're not just made for the general audience anymore.
But they were to start with, I think. And
Iron Man's origin story is an origin story.
Right, of course. And
nobody knew who the Guardians of the Galaxy were, and the movie made them popular.
Exactly. You're right. But, I wish we got more of this. We got his backstory. Yeah. But he's just a man. That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. He's a man. From the future.
The way you built up King the Conqueror, once again, I don't know much about King the Conqueror, I was expecting the next Thanos, the next big bad. This is just a guy.
That's what's so cool about it. He is the next big bad. And I think this was a great performance, and I really enjoyed it.
I like how he performs, definitely, and I like the backstory. Like I said, I just wish we got more on who he is, who he was.
I think we got an ample enough explanation. He's, for those of you that maybe don't know or want to hear it again, how he explains it in the show, he's from the 31st century. He's went in the future and he discovered multiple versions of himself, alternate dimensions, a multiverse.
Yep.
And he started to converse with these other versions of himself. And for a long time, there was peace until there was a giant multiversal war. And there's a giant war. And then the one we meet, He Who Remains, is the final version of himself at the end of time, the only one that survived. And the TVA was put in place to keep the alternate versions of himself out of the timeline.
Mm-hmm. And now my question is, why must the TVA be such a facade? Mm-hmm. I just didn't understand why the timekeepers had to be the weird giant lizards, and why they couldn't. And as we see on the cliffhanger here, I don't remember if it was a post-credit scene or if it was before the credits. Mm-hmm. In this next reality, after Sylvie, spoilers, as we said, Sylvie kills He Who Remains. Mm-hmm. We get back to the TVA and the statues are no longer of the timekeepers. They're of He Who Remains.
Yeah.
And my question is, why wasn't it that way in the first place? Why did he have to make this facade? I didn't understand that.
Yeah, it was just I guess, I don't know, really, honestly.
That's what threw me off. It was like, there was this whole big mystery on why the TV was there or why they weren't there. And we didn't get an answer why. Maybe we will in season 2.
Yeah. But the whole point of the TVA was to make sure that we don't get Kang the Conqueror. It's only He Who Remains is left.
Right.
Kang the Conqueror is what you're waiting for, Ryan, our Thanos level villain. Right. And we didn't get him here at the end, but we got a version of him.
Correct.
Which was, I thought, an interesting little twist.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get where you're coming from. A little frustrating if you didn't want to research it more. But I'm sure after people watch this episode, they're probably just like me. I looked up on YouTube right away. What's who's Kang the Conqueror, and they have hundreds of videos, Kang the Conqueror explained, on YouTube, and that's what I was looking up and stuff. I already knew a lot about him from the cartoons that I watched growing up, but yeah, no, Kang the Conqueror is here. He's the big bad. But let's talk about the multiverse of madness is set loose.
Yeah,
and that's why I'm interested to know why you think that this one doesn't lead into the movies, because this one, it feels to me like this is going to pick up right where this one left off.
Because it didn't touch on the multiverse. That's my confusion.
That's what she did. When she killed him, she opened up the multiverse.
I understand. And I think there could have been a great moment to demonstrate that. Mm-hmm. But instead we get Loki back at the TVA, which, and he runs into.
What did you want? Like a bigger moment, like seeing more heroes?
Yeah, absolutely. For a season finale of this magnitude too, because it's sort of the season finale of this, jumping off point for the MCU in these miniseries or these limited series. Yeah, I was expecting something bigger to demonstrate the multiverse of madness, to demonstrate the splitting of all these timelines, rather than it just looks like we're going to stay on one timeline, that just something has changed.
No, I think there's going to be a lot of multiverse stuff, and we're not going to see it in Multiverse of Madness until next year, but I think we're first going to see it in Spider-Man No Way Home this Christmas, right? Yeah. Or not Christmas, just in December it's going to come out. So I think that's where we're first going to get this kind of reference to, because, we got the Eternals, we got Shang-Chi, then we got Spider-Man No Way Home, which is definitely going to pick up. And I think, I've been reading some reports. I think Loki's going to show up in Spider-Man No Way Home. Doctor Strange is going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. So there's a lot of stuff that we could jump off here, but I think I might be with you on that too, Ryan. Maybe they could have, showed a bigger lead in, showed alternate versions of Spider-Man, alternate versions of these different things.
That's what I was looking for.
But here's my rebuttal for that point too. What If is the next show we're going to be getting, and that's directly related. I think What If is going to be what we're looking for.
And that, I think, because I don't recall if it happened before or after the finale, the trailer of What If dropping.
Right, yeah.
But that just got me so hyped for this multiversal idea that I was expecting to see more in the finale here.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope we get to see more of this played off. And, they have said, What If comes out in a couple of weeks now, or, actually next week. So they've said that it's canon, and you of course might have to explain that for people that don't know, but canon is, it, is real in the storyline.
Yeah.
And, I think that's going to be cool because, we get to see what was it? Black Panther is, Star-Lord.
And Killmonger comes and saves Tony Stark.
So all of that is
never becomes
part of this multiverse, all these alternate realities.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm really excited for and was hoping to see more of in Loki. So what if you guys recall from our episode where the D23 Expo came out with all these projects, I think What If was the big one that I had circled that I was most looking forward to. So cannot wait for that. But then of course the second one that we had both circled was Loki. And as much as I'm saying negative things about this finale, I do think episodes 1 through 5 hit the mark really well for Loki.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's about all that we have to talk about. Maybe just a few things where we think the show will go.
I was going to say, do we want to go predictions after the way this ended?
Yeah, I'm interested to hear what you say.
So let's refresh everyone again how this ended. Loki is running through the TVA. He returns after Sylvie has killed He Who Remains, and he finds Mobius and Hunter 52 or I don't remember.
B-52 or whatever. Yeah.
And goes to tell them, about Kang and everything, and they have no idea who he is. And he looks up, and the statues in this library, the TVA that were the timekeepers are now of He Who Remains, Kang, whatever we want to call him. And they don't know who Loki is. And then we get the cut to Loki will return for season 2.
Yeah.
So where do we think this is going? And I'm puzzled. I'm stumped.
I think he's going to go get some help from, he's going to try to escape the TVA. Number one, he's going to get, one of those boxes. And I think he's going to teleport to New York City. And I think he's going to meet up with Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man's going to be there too. And he's going to show up in the next movie with Spider-Man. I think that's where we're going to pick up this storyline.
My question is then, I mean, that sounds like a finale moment before No Way Home. So are we going to get 5 more episodes of him running around trying to escape the TVA? Because that's all that season 1 was, really.
Right. No, I mean, well, we're not getting season 2 until after Spider-Man.
Right. Okay.
Right. So I think that all that we're going to see is going to be in Spider-Man, and then I don't know what's going to happen after that, but he's going to show up in Spider-Man. That's my prediction.
Okay. And I can get behind that.
Okay.
I just don't know where they're going to go with season 2 here. It just seems like we just hit a reboot key.
He's got to find Sylvie. That's the other storyline.
This just was very reminiscent to me of the Umbrella Academy storyline, where they have this great day, everyone's together, and then 5 is with the bureau or whatever they're called, and then that whole day just resets and didn't matter. And that's how I feel. All this progress that Loki had made, showing Mobius that he was a slave to the TVA, and B-52 finding out that she had a family beforehand. And, breaking the idea that the TVA is a hoax. Well, nobody's going to believe you again because we just hit a reboot key. And that's what sort of frustrates me.
Yeah, kind of back to point A.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that is a little frustrating for me as well. Like I said, not a perfect episode of TV.
Yeah.
But yeah. Now, I do have one final prediction I just want to give out for Kang the Conqueror. So in the background in the comics, so there's two predictions I have, because we know number one, we're getting a Fantastic Four movie. Right. In the future, a couple of years from now. I think that in the comics, Kang the Conqueror is a son of Reed Richards. Okay, do you know who Reed Richards is? Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say stretchy arm guy.
Yeah, stretchy arm guy. Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna go that direction. In the 31st century, he's Reed Richards' great grandson. I don't know if we're gonna go like that. What I think would be kind of cool, and what I'm hoping that they'll do is they'll make Kang the Conqueror like a far off descendant of Tony Stark.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think that could be kind of awesome.
And that plays into the scientist, ultra genius.
Yeah. And I think that could be cool if that's kind of down the line. That's the storyline for Kang. And that could be a big reveal that we get, and that would be cool.
Okay. Yeah. I agree with that. Definitely. I did have one more question before we go that I wanted to ask you. I don't recall if it was a prediction that you had made that we saw on screen or if we ever saw it on screen, but you were talking about how Judge Renslayer was the name of King the Conqueror's concubine, whatever.
Yeah. His wife. Yeah.
Was that ever covered in the show? I'm trying to remember, because she kept on getting memos, and I don't think we ever saw what they said. She was just shocked by them.
Yeah. I think that's the direction they're going, because, they did reveal that they're all variants, right? The TVA police people.
Yeah.
And I think she is a version of his wife that he's just brainwashed to not remember.
Got it. That was my question. Yeah, because we saw she was a principal.
Yeah.
I think was the final scene we saw with her was her traveling back with, to a certain time that she was told to, and people recognize her and she doesn't recognize them as their principal.
Right. Yeah. And I think that'll be her big reveal is that, she, fell in love with Kang after he had traveled back in time and met her or something like that. And that's when he took her. But good. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think like we said, definitely kind of underwhelmed, more so me than you, but still not a perfect finale for you by any means by the finale, but definitely both big fans of the show Loki.
Yes.
We're still hanging on and watching for season 2 and
Tom Hiddleston. We'll watch for watching Tom Hiddleston.
Without a doubt. And hopefully a return of Owen Wilson, who I think killed his role in this as well.
He was amazing as well. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that'll wrap it for our talks on Loki. What else do we have coming for him, Dom?
So we got Summer Movie Reviews Part 2. We have Part 1 up on the channel now. So if you haven't seen that yet, go ahead and watch it. We discussed a bunch of films in that one. Everything from, Old, Snake Eyes, Black Widow, just a bunch of movies, Luca, just all kinds of stuff that we've been watching recently. Some big names, some little names. And so go check that out. Just giving our opinions and scores on those movies. In the future, we're going to have Part 2. We're going to talk about, Jungle Cruise, Suicide Squad, Free Guy, a bunch of movies coming out in the August, September range.
Yeah.
And we also are going to be continuing Rick and Morty. We got a few episodes to catch up on. So we'll do that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't know if we'll catch up on an episode or if maybe we'll just hold it for like the second half of the season and just do a second half of the season and overall thoughts on the season, but we'll see. I will be stepping away for vacation for a couple of weeks. But we'll go get that for you guys, as well as we just finished The Legend of Korra. So we'll have a 2-part Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra review in preparation for the new Avatar series that are coming to Netflix, and then hopefully thereafter Paramount Plus.
Yeah, absolutely. So stay tuned for all that, guys. You can find us on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button if you want to see more of our videos. Hit the like button if you enjoyed our content as well. Leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts on whatever our video topic is. And of course, if you just want to listen to the audio version, you can find us on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts. So with that said, guys, we'll see you on the next episode of Top of the List.
Later, guys.